I want to do is I want to expand your awareness on some other symptoms that you may be experiencing that are connected that you might.
Okay, so you probably all know who Dr. Berg is, but this is a video he made a long time ago about gluten, and I just had the craziest experience after eating gluten, like rye sourdough, 30 hours to fermentate this sourdough, start like 30 hours to make this bread. Like this is really, really top quality bread, okay? And basically it's been a lot of stress. I've been kind of stress eating in the last couple of weeks because my mom is had a pretty serious operation. So I just I would I'm not saying that I was always in ketosis, but I would be still low carb, but it would be whole foods carbs, like because I do like to eat potatoes, especially since I started lifting weights and things. I like to have a little bit of carbs, um, you know, with the amount of exercise that I do. And then kind of every couple of weeks I'd have this binge where I'd eat like toasted cheese sandwiches with supermarket bread, and I'd eat whatever. If I'd broken it by doing that, then I'd be like, oh well, I may as well just eat some ice cream and stuff like that. Then it'd kind of be one day, and then I'd be like straight carnivore again for a couple of days, and then a little bit of uh, more carbs. So the last couple of weeks I have had kind of 2 binge days a week rather than kind of a binge day every month. And I'm finding it very difficult to go a full 6 weeks with going through the ketosis, the high fat. I do eat high fat, but so when I'm just eating high fat, I find it very difficult on my stomach. So even trying to lower the fats, I just don't feel that good. I know that I'm supposed to get 6 weeks to kind of get really fat adapted and give it that time, but I just don't seem to be able to do that. I seem to kind of fall off, and I fall off with bad food. So I thought, you know what, this can't go on. So even if you just have a binge day, but you have your binge day with whole foods and it's just more carbs, but at least you're not getting the emulsifiers and all that crap. So I bought this sourdough bread, um, and I made toasted cheese with it. So I did eat probably like 100 to 150 grams of this sourdough bread in one day. Um, I hadn't eaten anything non-carnivore, high-fat non-carnivore for about, I don't know, maybe 5 days before that. And then I ate this, and I noticed by that evening that I was double checking things that I wouldn't be checking that much anymore since I've got way more of a handle on my OCD. And I thought, okay, that's strange, but you might just be being paranoid because you're so paranoid sometimes about eating food that you think is going to spike your OCD. So it might just be that. So the next day, I wasn't feeling great. I was still exercising, by the way, the same amount. So I know it's not the exercise thing. Did have my period. So definitely an element of that. And I was kind of thinking, oh, it's just your period. But I was feeling the normal period level of anxiety before I ate the bread. So I was kind of like, that should have been wearing off. Um, so I know what that is. And I was kind of like, okay, oh, so that's just what that is. Okay. But then I, so that was the day after. I wasn't feeling great. My OCD was definitely up. Just stupid things that I'm more usually able to just go, you know what, OCD, fuck off. I'm not entertaining your crap today. But oh my God, the second day, it was like going back years. I was completely trapped in OCD. I was completely stuck. I was doing rituals and behaviors that were just like so like, I just was like, this is what you used to be like when it first started. You have absolutely no control over what's going on in your brain at all. I lost all control. Um, and it was just really, really crazy. And I mean, in my own house, in my own home, I had no confidence in myself to be able to control the panic. I had no confidence in myself to be able to control the behaviors. Um, I lost all of the resilience that I'd built up since starting metabolic therapies. It all went out the window. It lasted pretty much the entire day. It was absolutely horrendous. I never want to feel like that again. I opened up a document on my phone, said, read this before eating, I've called it. And I detailed exactly how I was feeling. And it's like, you need to stop lying to yourself that you are going to be able to eat what is constituted as a normal diet. You you have got to stop going through this every couple of months where you think, oh, I'm doing okay, I can reintroduce this or that. Yeah, you can reintroduce this or that, but my God, bread is not one of those things you can reintroduce. I already know that dairy is something I can't reintroduce, but it's a different thing with dairy. So even if I eat potatoes that somebody cooks with cream, which my brother's a chef, so he always uses cream when he's cooking potatoes, and he uses a lot of it, and they're really, really delicious. And if I'm like eating with them, like my family, 2 or 3 days in a row, and I even eat like a small amount of potatoes with the cream in them, like I'll start noticing not the OCD, it's more the ruminating thoughts. Do you know the kind of thing where you think of something that happened in your past or something that you're ashamed of or embarrassed about, and you just can't stop? You can't stop thinking about it and you start ruminating on it. That's what happens with dairy. But with gluten, like it has to be the gluten because I haven't experienced a day like I did yesterday for a long time. It is pure OCD, like just contamination, repeated patterns, like no control over yourself whatsoever. And it was absolutely horrendous. Um, I know that I'm not celiac. I know that I don't have lactose intolerance, but there's something going on with those foods when it comes to mental health. And my God, did I fucking suffer for that, 100 grams or so of rye sourdough that I had. Could it have been something else? Sure, there's always a possibility. I'm not a fucking scientist or a medical doctor. I don't know. But all I can tell you is I have not had a day that bad in a long time. And the only time I have days that are that bad are when I am eating, when I'm not sticking to the diet. So, although I don't think it's all about diet, and I don't think, because, exercise is just as important, sleep and circadian rhythm and all of these things are just as important. But the underlying factor I've noticed, keeping my exercise going, keeping my sleep and all that. And yes, I have been stressed because my mother had a serious operation, but it's the food, man. It's the food. Like it's just it it's not going to solve all your problems if you change your diet and you don't change anything else, but my God, you can change everything else and try and keep the same diet. That's not going to work. It's just not. It's the biggest factor. And I learned a really shitty lesson yesterday. So yeah, read this before eating is my new go-to document where I'm just going to be like, stop putting yourself through this. Stop lying to yourself. Am I never going to have a toasted cheese again? No, that's ridiculous. I have sliced up that sourdough and put it in the freezer in kind of like two slices, maybe about 50 carbs. And if I get absolutely desperate and I really think I'm going to break and I really can't fight off this feeling that I want to do, eat something like that, take it out of the freezer, try and stay for a couple of hours and maybe eat a toasted cheese once. But repeated days in a row, absolutely not. That just doesn't work. Once, and know what to expect. Know that my OCD is going to come back and know that it's going to be, something that I need to handle and make that decision then. But certainly not any more than like a small amount. And also, apparently, it takes like 3 months for gluten to really come out of your system, which is an absolute bastard. But what can we do? But yeah, I feel a lot better today. Like I feel like a different person today than I felt yesterday. And it's scary. It's scary how bad I felt yesterday. But anyway, let's hear what this guy's got to say.
Not think are connected. Let's first talk about the mental connection, how it can affect your mental state. Well, first of all, it can create symptoms like ADD, depression, anxiety, and even autism. It can even lead to things like schizophrenia. The other problem is a permeability issue in your gut. So you've heard of.
Okay, first of all, like gluten's not going to cause autism or schizophrenia. Like it's not going to cause it, but like gluten didn't cause me to have OCD. I don't think that, but my God, it triggers the fuck out of it. But calling it a cause, it's a bit. That's going to put people off. Or like, don't be ridiculous. Gluten can't cause autism. That's when you start getting people telling you you're crazy, and then they discount everything. No, I'm not saying cause, but a trigger. It does something. It inflames the brain in some way that gets your symptoms out of control. Yeah, like if you phrase it like that, maybe people won't be so quick to dismiss you as talking absolute nonsense.
Leaky gut, right? Well, that is a condition where you have holes in your gut that's created by the inflammation because there's so much omega-6 fatty acids in bread and grains. Like if we were going to compare omega-3 to omega-6, it's like 1 to 22. So in other words, there's 22 times more omega-6 fatty acids than there is omega-3. But what I want to do is I want to expand your.
Okay. Yeah, the gut thing. Okay. I am trying to go with just not having binge days and reintroduce and have some. So I've got some really small apples, like I've got some little mandarins or tangerines or whatever you call them. They're, if I ate one of them a day, it wouldn't go over the kind of 30 grams of carbs. Um, I I eat a little bit of potato if I'm going to do some strength training that day. Um, I run most days, at least, do a couple of miles jogging, and I walk a lot and I move a lot. I kind of am averaging about 16 to 20,000 steps a day at the moment. Um, so I move a lot, and but I want to stop these days where I binge, and so by keeping some carbs in the house, that are whole food carbs, at least if I get some sort of craving, I can just eat those. Um, so obviously I've had some gut issues because I've gone from having like almost no fiber to now having a bit of fiber. And of course, that's going to make your stomach a bit thing. But remember what it was like when you first went on to carnivore? What happened to your stomach? So, like, there's an adjustment period for everything. Yeah, I did get headaches and things like that. But when you only eat like, ground beef and sausages for like weeks on end, and then you eat something else, of course it's going to affect you. I don't necessarily think that carbs are bad. I'm trying to do more of a longevity thing then. So there obviously was issues going on with my gut, but I've been doing this kind of for a week, and it was the from eating the sourdough bread is when I noticed the real things. Now, it could be, oh, if you're a strict carnivore, you might say that's a combination of all the carbs. I personally think it was the bread. It was just different. I don't feel like that when I eat potato. I don't feel like that when I eat a small apple or a little orange. I just don't. I just don't feel like that. And so, yeah, I don't even know if it's the gluten. There are other proteins that can cause inflammation in bread and in wheat flours and things like that. It doesn't have to necessarily be gluten. It could be something else. But either way, this is just something that I need to remember when I go through those. Oh, I'm sure I'll be fine. It's just once in a while. Blah, blah, blah. Like, no, like there are just certain foods that not good for you. So um anyway, I thought I'd share that because, like, yes, it was just a horrendous experience that I haven't had to go through for a long time, and I don't even need to be in high ketosis. I just kind of need to be in ketosis to have that kind of clearer head and kind of more confidence to tackle OCD and my agoraphobia and things. So I just, yeah, even the eating a few more carbs things, I think I just need to accept that being in ketosis is something my brain needs. Even just a low grade ketosis doesn't matter. Um, and I'm pretty sure I've had this conversation with myself many times over the years, and I know this, but I keep lying to myself that it's someday going to be okay to do other things, to eat other things, and yeah, I just keep I just keep failing miserably at it, and I suppose I don't even know if I'm just making this video because I want to play it back for myself the next time I think that I'm going to be okay if I have a little bit of carb. I, you know, I, like I said, I have a document on my phone as well. I think I just have to stop lying to myself that eating like other people eat is going to work for me and I'm going to be okay, because it's just obviously not. But anyway, I hope you're all doing well. Like, subscribe, and share, because, again, you need people to be talking about this kind of stuff, because I'm certainly not going to hear it from your doctor. Um, but yeah, I hope everyone's doing well, and that you're getting out and enjoying life a bit more.